So then you program your breathing in with this. You tighten your core, you take a deep breath, you tighten your core more. Hey, welcome back to Uncivilized Rebirth. You are my mission. Today I want to talk about changing the flow of energy or diverting energy for changing a behavior. So follow me on this one. 2 videos ago, I talked about how you have energy go into a brain, it goes to a process or a marker, then activates these processes for your body to do. Well, when we want to do something different and it's so hard not to do that old behavior, it's because that energy is going down that pipeline or that neural pathway that is set in place, but it's not permanent. What makes it so difficult is getting the energy stopped and sending it down a new pathway to create new connections or a new pathway. So how do you stop that energy from going to that marker to start those processes? It's not just about willpower, it's a little bit more, I think. It's about creativity, stored information, external stimuli, internal stimuli, and kind of knowing what you're doing. So check this out. When you program in something new in your body, like a new task, like I'm going to learn how to use a jigsaw better, and I did a little bit of research on it because I'm cutting this piece of wood out. Legitimately, I'm doing that. So I researched on how to use a jigsaw. Now, the stuff I learned about it, I'm going to apply. And I've never done this before, so I'm programming in a new skill in my brain. So the next time I go to that jigsaw, like I remember these skills, I'll do it this way. Eventually, it'll be where I pick up the jigsaw and those skills are programmed in. And to activate it, energy goes to a marker of like jigsaw stuff and then it activates that process. And I no longer have to think about the details of it. It just works that way when I activate that process and use it. Just like, let's say, with shooting. So you initially learn how to shoot, and then eventually you don't think about that initial training. Initially you're like, okay, do this, slowly pull the trigger, do this. Then eventually it's just like, da da da, done. So check this out. 2 videos ago I talked about a behavior you may not like is like getting up at midnight, going getting ice cream, sitting on the couch, and watching movies or funny TV shows. Not a good behavior. Well, you kind of go into zombie mode and you just do it. You got to divert the energy. So in my earlier videos, I've talked about this thing called the character trigger, where you program in, I think it's 4 different things that are totally unrelated, but you program them in together in one spot. So when one of those is activated, they're all activated. And what this is a combination of is you have a character sheet. You write out everything that you want to be, as much detail as you want to go into. You have your own symbol at the top of the page. I've talked about symbology and the power of it, or symbolism. Let's say your symbol can activate and populate a ton of information in the brain in a split second. So the goal of having your own symbol in a character sheet is to assign all this information to this symbol that is new to you. You create it yourself. So when you learn those together, they're symbiotic. They're enmeshed. They are one in the same. So when you think about your symbol, you think about your character sheet, which populates all that stuff about your character, about how you want to be. So then you program your breathing in with this. You tighten your core, you take a deep breath, you tighten your core more, and you're actually your core is acting like a billows with your lungs full, and you're tightening it and you're forcing air, oxygen into your system. If you follow any work by Joe Dispenza, energy follows awareness. So you think about the middle of your brain and you're forcing oxygen to your brain. And then if you do tapping as well, tapping is you find a spot in your body and you go tap, tap, tap. But what you can do is, this is a cool thing about the human body and the brain, If you're looking at that symbol and reading your character sheet, and right when you're finished, you go tap, tap, tap. Every time you think about that character sheet, the symbol's going to populate in your mind. Every time you think about the symbol, the character sheet's going to populate. Now, when you do the tapping, that character sheet and symbol are going to populate at the same time in your brain. So when you think about the symbol, you see the image of it. That takes energy and your creativity. So check this out. So we have a symbol, we have a character sheet, we have tapping, and we have breathing. And so at the end, these are programmed in together. So after you look at your symbol, read your character sheet, look at your symbol, you take that deep breath, do that tap, tighten the core. The body and the brain is like, oh, all of this goes together. And all of that takes energy. Because as soon as you think about that symbol, all the information about your character populates. Because you spend a lot of time thinking about it, you've written it down, all the information populates. When you do the tapping, that takes energy. It's a deliberate action of a process that starts from your brain, sends a signal down your arm. The signal is received and it goes back up. So it creates this loop. And the beginning of that signal is where you're programming in the character sheet, the symbol, the breath work, and the tapping. So it's all enmeshed. And it all takes energy. And it all takes a power of will to do this. So it's not just like, I want to do this, I want to do this. Now what you're doing, when you have a behavior you no longer want to do, or you want to do something new, or program something in, you take that deep breath, tighten your core, take the deep breath, think about your symbol, your character sheet populates, tap, 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 and that just reinforces where that marker or the energy of the marker. Yes, where the energy is going to the new marker that you've put in with your character trigger. Guess what? So let's say you have your old pathway right here. It's getting up, going to eat ice cream, sit on the couch, or watch TV. Tap, tap, tap. Think about your symbol. Your character sheet populates. Tighten your core. Take a deep breath. Tighten your core more. You're focusing right up here at the base of your brain, tip of your spine. Thinking about your symbol. All of the energy that was going to the old marker, which activated the old process of going to the fridge, going to the couch, eating, all the energy is stopped and diverted to the new marker. And then from the new marker, you're like, I am going to go do laundry instead. You know, it may not be that, but you can then choose much easier to do a new activity. I'm going to end the video there. I hope that makes sense. Roadhouse, spiritual hard.